You're a mutant.
A witcher.
I need answers. I want to be powerful.
When did you last feel happy when you felt trapped?
You can't outrun destiny just because you're terrified of it.
My grandmother said I had to leave. Why does the world depend on it? Nobody smart plays fair.
Welcome to the world of the new Netflix series, The Witcher. A world inhabited with everything you've come to expect from a good fantasy story. Monsters, monarchs, characters who kill those monsters and monarchs. But only The Witcher has Geralt of Rivia, Yennefer of Vengerberg, and Cirilla, the lion cub of Cintra, all of whom reside on the continent, a vast sprawling land in the midst of turmoil, all swirling around in a cauldron of chaos, magic, war, and destiny.
One of the really interesting things about Witcher is that it's actually quite universal. Almost everyone can find something in this book, something in this TV show, and relate to one of the characters. And it's beautiful.
This is Tomek Baginski, an executive producer on The Witcher. But the show's origins go back to a popular series of short stories and novels written by Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski. And he started writing these way back in the mid-1980s. And when I say they were popular, I mean hugely popular. Like translated into 20 languages and turned into a few video games popular. But Tomek was just a teenager in Poland when Andrzej's books first came out. And when he was in high school, he devoured all these adventures of Geralt of Rivia, the mutant monster hunter. It wasn't just because he loved fantasy. There was something real about the Witcher saga that resonated with Tomek.
It reflects a little bit of my experience as a child when I was growing up in a country which was not fully free, because Poland at that time was still a communist country. And to see this character who has like the soul I understand, and the world which is as complex as the world I see around me, it was really, really interesting, because it's kind of unique to have a book like that, which is fantasy, right? It's just a fairy tale story with monsters and monster hunters, but it tells so many great things about the world we are living in.
Tomek grew up and became a filmmaker, and he knew he wanted to do something cinematic with Andrzej's books. He wanted to breathe life into the characters and images that were cemented into his mind, and he wanted to share his connection with them so that others could connect with them too. So he reached out to the guy behind these fantastic stories, the author, Andrzej Sapkowski.
I just wrote him a letter, a very, very long letter. Like, I think it was like 20 pages or 25. I actually printed it out as like a little document, because I thought that maybe this is the way how to approach a writer, right? To write something.
To be clear, Tomek just printed out his letter and mailed it. But that's how you know it's real. In this letter, Tomek waxed poetic about his connection to Andrzej's material, but also dove deep into the technicalities of how he turned Andrzej's work into something for the screen. He broke down the process of pitching it to a studio and bringing in producers, all the very tedious, intricate parts of adapting a book. Tomek thought his chances of actually getting the show made were pretty slim. So from his perspective, he thought,
where is the risk? All he has to say is to say yes, and let's have some fun. And he told me later that he almost threw the letter to the trash, because he gets so many letters, right? Yeah. So many information, but he saw that it's actually quite 25 pages. It's not, and it's printed. It's not just email.
It's thoughtful.
So he actually read it and he answered one word. It's interesting.
That was the response?
Yeah, the first response was, it's interesting.
Eventually, Tomek convinced Andrzej it was a good idea. The first season of The Witcher is out now on Netflix. But there's so much that went down between Tomek sending Andrzej Sapkowski a letter and you sitting at home hitting play on episode 1. So over the next 3 episodes, we're going to fill you in on how it all came to be. We're going to find out how you take a fantasy that is 8 books with well over 3,000 pages of source material and turn it into an epic television series, from narrative decisions to set building and everything in between. We'll dive into Yennefer's new backstory.
Remember that scared girl who tumbled at your feet in this cave? Totally unaware of her power. I want to go back home to Aiden and never be her again.
We'll follow Cirilla, the lion cub of Cintra.
Maybe he's the other edge of my destiny.
But first, in this episode, we're staring deep into the yellow eyes of Geralt of Rivia. My name is Brandon Jenkins. I'm a journalist, a podcast host, and a fan of all things fantasy. It's time to toss a coin to your Witcher, because this is Behind the Scenes of The Witcher, Episode 1, Geralt of Rivia.